Yes. All right. Welcome to Kanpai Chronicles. Kanpai Chronicles o yokozo. I still don't know how to say the Romaji version of Chronicles. I don't think there's even a Romaji version. So I'm going to be fucking that up every single time that I try to introduce. But anyway, welcome to the podcast with your host, Norman and
Holly.
And in this show, we're going to talk about all things yabai, the good, the bad, and the dangerous. But I think we're going to dial it down a little bit for this episode because we are going
last episode.
Definitely from last episode. I still need to work on that one because we went pretty full on, pretty dirty on that one because of the yokai that we chose, and it just went from there. So this time we are dialing down to something a lot more relatable, something that everybody has to do, and definitely something that I look forward to every day, at least three times a day, or maybe two if I don't feel like it in the morning, and that is to eat. So definitely an episode all about food, all the delicious sweetness, the meat, the veggies, and everything that you can find either in Japan or basically your own interpretation of everything delicious. So I don't know what to expect out of this episode because when you just say food, it could be anything, like literally.
Yeah, my mind like rockets off.
Yeah.
And I didn't make like a little lesson plan or anything, so I'm just whatever food comes to mind.
Yeah, it's same for me. I was just like, let's just make this more serendipitous. Just like, okay, we'll try to let's just navigate through the different parts of Japan that we've maybe visited or thought of, and then there's bound to be some sort of food related thing there, because there's a lot of foods on my mind that I love to like revisit, and we've touched on foods a little bit in previous episodes, but I think I want to like go full on this time. But first, before we begin our main topic, there is the esteemed, infamous Yokai of the Week section. Definitely different from last week's episode where we went full on with the monkey in the water. It is now my turn to pick the demon for this episode, and I went with something a lot more innocent. And I definitely, like, this is not chosen by me. I did click random on yokai.com. And for your sake, I'll put it in the chat. But the yokai of the week this week is called Suzuhiko Hime, which is the translation for it is the Bell Princess. So it sounds like a very sweet and innocent demon to be friends with, etc. And I thought this would be an interesting one because at first glance, like the description of it, which I'll of course expand upon in this episode, sounds innocent and nice and harmless, but there is this underlying notion beneath it, which is something I would love to explore another time, which is our relationship with items. So I'll give you a quick overview of what Suzuhiko Hime is. So Suzuhiko Hime, so there's 3 kanji, and the first kanji is bell, so Suzu. Hiko is the archaic word for boy or lad. So, and Hime is princess. So you basically have like a mad lad, bell, princess, and the image that we have on the website is essentially the body of a princess, a girl, but the head is replaced with a giant bell. So it's just a little girl with a giant bell head. And what Suzuhiko Hime is actually is a type of tsukumogami. And what that means when you translate it is, well, it's the word tool and God put together. And this is a subset of demons or yokai where they are tools or items within society that have gained like a spirit or conscience after existing for 100 years. So if an item has been like, in use for 100 years or has been like well kept for 100 years, all of a sudden there's so much history and depth into it then that it suddenly gains some kind of like sentience in it. So in this case, this bell was like, oh man, I've been living for 100 years and all of a sudden I'm a princess, right? It's just like that. And
Beautiful.
yeah, it's sort of like, it's very poetic actually, the origin of this. And I'll read up a little bit of the origin from here, from this link. So quote, bells have been used since ancient times in Shinto rituals to calm the human soul, as well as repel evil spirits. Most importantly, they are meant to attract the attention of the gods and call forth their presence. Although it is not specifically stated, it is possible that Suzuhiko Hime, like other Tsukumokami, are born out of old tools that are no longer in service, animating themselves from the desire to be useful again. So this is, I guess, not maybe not being well kept, but more on irrelevance, and that compels them to be like, hey, look at me, I'm still part of your life, or I'm still part of your daily lifestyle. So I don't know, I just find that really warming. Like it's definitely way different than the other demons we've been looking at before, where
yeah.
they aim to scare us. But there's something really nice hearing or reading about this bell princess. But yeah, what do you think about it, actually?
I think, well, it's kind of like you were saying, like it being maybe a yokai that we could use to have like a different kind of discussion about like materials and things like that. And especially in when you bring in like Shintoism and stuff, I think a lot of that is like how you treat like the environment and also like your own like possessions and stuff like that. And I think I don't know, like I have one of those brains, so like there are things like we put like sentimental like value onto certain stuff, but where it almost is like it gains a soul of its own, so to speak, like how you view it and things like that. Mine is like a stuffed animal. It's like living and breathing to me. Is how I would treat it. So you can see, I think, how like this like yokai would come to be. And as you were saying in like the description with like the bells and stuff, and how like bells and things are used in like those rituals, I think that's kind of like pretty poetic to give them like a spirit of their own, in a sense. I like that.
Yeah, it's very song-like. There's something musical about this description. So it's really pleasing to hear, especially when it describes something so harmless in nature. So a little bit of an extension of the supposed behavior of this yokai. Quote, Suzuki Hime do not cause harm to humans. They merely dance about in the wild. Oh, sorry. They merely dance about in wild and ritualistic movements, like the dances in which they were once used as holy instruments. So they're just there to just dance in the background while they're, chilling around Shinto temples, and bathing in the presence of, say, the environments that Shintoism provides, like whether it is your belief in various kami, or your outlook on life. All of a sudden you have these bells that gain sentience, and they're like, hey, yo, what up, in the background dancing about. And yeah, on your point on say items of sentimental value, it's there are a few, and I'm looking around my room right now, like there are a few that I would love to see that sentimental value manifested. Like I can always argue for a lot of things to be cherished around in this room, and I'm sure you can as well for the things around you. The poeticness of this description is making me think, out of everything in this room, what item would I love to see some kind of spirit manifested in it that shows just how much I cherish it? And I'm looking around, and probably the one thing I would love to see to have some kind of harmless spirit come out of it would be this like leather bound book that I have that contains all of my fictional stories.
Yeah.
and I don't know how it would behave. Hopefully it's harmless. Hopefully it's not gonna, stab me in the back or something and be like, what do you write?
Right.
It's like some Death Note shit. But for me, not to turn this into some kind of religious discussion, I think it's more on being able to articulate the narrative I want to believe in so much that it becomes personified into this item makes the value of this item so great it can be worshipped. Sounds very, very beautiful. It's almost like how can I make my own holy grail, right? It's like that.
Right.
So yeah, I just think that's very beautiful.
I mean, it's kind of refreshing because I feel I don't know obviously if this is common like around the world, and I'm sure in Japan, like yokai, there are some like this, but typically in the West, when people think of like an inanimate object gaining like sentience, it's always of like a malevolent sort. Like it's always like an evil doll or picture or like something like that. So it's nice to like see something like calm and peaceful and like beautiful instead of like a haunted like creepy ass bell.
Yeah. Well, so okay, so here's one thing. I brought up the subset category of these yokai. So these are tools that have gained conscience. In modern society, like here's a question for you. In modern society now, what tool would you love to see to suddenly gain its own conscience?
My first. Do I want to say that? I don't know, because I'm like a jackass, so like my first like thought was like, oh, dildos. But
because it was the same for me.
But that's not really genuine, like I don't but like that was the first thing that popped into my head. I don't know, maybe like I love like the little like in Japan where they have like gacha, and they have just like cute little, I think I might have a couple here actually. I have some like little like, oh fuck, like little like Pokemon or stuff like this. And so they have like all these little gacha. If some of those could like gain sentience and you could just have like tiny little critters, like that would be something cute, little pets or something. But then that kind of gets into like that movie Toy Story. And I don't know, like some like toys I don't think I would want like roaming around my room. But yeah, what about you?
When you say Toy Story, I was actually thinking Toy Soldiers. I don't know if you've seen that movie, the one with the it's like there's like good guys and bad guys, like the Gorgonites, and then there's like the army soldiers, and then they have
I like vaguely remember that. I remember my brother really liked that, so I know I've seen it, but it's one of those like I probably watched it like a couple times, and now it's just, I remember Indian in the Cupboard. Did you ever see that?
Indian in the Cupboard.
This kid had like this magical cupboard, and so if you like put your toy in there and then like turned the key like a certain way, and then opened it again, the toy would like come to life. If I go back and rewatch it, it's probably something that didn't age well. I could see it being like a pretty stereotyped like Indian and cowboy like thing. But he did like bring two of his, or a couple of his like toys together. So there was like the like Native Americans and then cowboys and then conflict and stuff like that. But they just stayed like really tiny, and they just became like alive. Like they became like actual like people. Like, in other movies, it's just kind of like the toy stays itself, but it's like moving around. These toys became like actual like tiny humans.
Okay. Maybe I haven't seen that one then. It's like, it's giving me like Night in the Museum vibes. It's just like, oh,
Yeah,
everything comes to
yeah.
life like that. Okay.
Yeah, it was basically
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Although if I have like a full gang of like gacha items that come to life, it'll just be this like squad of gods that's just running around in my room. I'd actually be more annoyed because because they're just like a whole bunch of like just gods just like running around the tables and everything.
Oh my god. Yeah, maybe if like only a couple of them like came to be, maybe not like the whole gang.
Pokemon ones would be cool. Let's see.
Mm.
What would I want to make a god out of? I'm not sure. I guess this has to be a tool that I can hold or use, right? So no, this is hard. I think like I was thinking of asking you this. I never had an answer for myself because the first thing that came to my mind, I don't know why, it's a monster truck. Like if a monster truck had a spirit, that'd be pretty sick. If I don't know why that came to my head because the immediate first thing I would think of is because the past few times that we've been talking about yokai, they've always had some sort of element of death in them. Like it's like very supernatural, and if you're exposed to it, then your life is in danger. There's like that risk factor.
Oh,
So
all right.
I've always thought that like a tool that would gain sentience would be like, oh, there's something that could, if it gains sentience, your involvement with it will lead to death. The first thing I thought of was I don't know if you've watched monster trucks before, but then there's this famous one called the Gravedigger, and it's like a famous one. Yeah. I love the Gravedigger because they have like that museum in Texas. I've always wanted to visit that, but I don't know why it's coming
It's like
out.
geeking
Right?
out.
I know, but I just love the Gravedigger. I'm a huge fan of it. It's like one of the only like things I watched that's like fully American, and I was like 5 years old in Malaysia, and I'm just watching monster truck shows. Anyway, if Gravedigger had a spirit, it would just like ruin people's lives. It would just like just roll down roads and everything. That will be S tier, definitely. That would just be like this giant monster truck just destroying cars.
Everything. And I just thought of like you know how there's lots of like lore and stuff on like people getting like caught in like video games or whatever. I was thinking like that'd be kind of cool if like there were like books like possessed by like spirits or whatever, where you would actually maybe be like transported into whatever world that book like details. And then it's like maybe you have to like make it through the story and hopefully like survive until the end. Kind of like in those things, it's like if you die in the game, then you die in real life. And this would be like if you die in the book, then you die in real life. That'd be interesting.
Is there a book you're thinking of right now that you'd be like, I don't mind being transported instead?
No, I only got that idea because when I was like in Japan, I bought the manga. In English, the anime is called Erased. And it's like, have you seen it? It's this story where there's this like adult guy, and he kind of gets these like premonitions, and then when he gets them, he'll kind of like go back in time, and it's like,
oh,
he has to figure out what's wrong and like
I know
fix
this
it.
one. Yeah,
And
I know
so
this one.
yeah, and so I was thinking like, oh, like what if like in the story I was like the little girl who's like set to like get killed or whatever, and I just have to hope like I survive like in the story.
Okay. Yeah, no, I watched the anime, and
It's one of
the
my
anime is
like love
really
it.
good. Really,
Yeah,
really
they have
good.
like I think they have a live action series and a movie, and I think I've seen all of them. I'm like obsessed.
Yeah, definitely. Highly recommended. If you're listening to this, you should also watch Erased. The Japanese name is Boku dake ga inai machi. Yeah, a town without me. Yeah, because I didn't know the English name, so I only knew the Boku dake ga inai machi, and I think the English translation of the title came out later on after, because I never knew about this, And then a friend of mine was also watching anime and following like, new ones coming out every season. And one day she just messaged me like, dude, you should totally just watch this one. I'm like, what's it about? And it's like, thriller, I guess. Like thriller
Right.
is probably the
Yeah.
right genre. So I don't really actively watch thriller genre things. So
Mm.
I'm like, oh, okay, sure. And I put it in my list of to watch, but I've put it all the way until the end. So I wasn't there to anticipate for the next episode as to what will happen. So at the
Right.
end of the season, or like, after everything's done, there's the whole anime is out for one whole season. So I was just like, okay, let me just watch episode 1 and we'll just see if it's nice or not. And I watched episode 1 and it was so good. Then I binged the whole thing in one go.
Yeah.
And I had work the
Yeah.
next day or something like that. It was so good that I couldn't sleep because I wanted it to finish. I wanted to reach the end. But we'll stop there because it's just so good. I don't want to raise expectations for anybody if you're listening, because it is really good. You should find out what it is. Yeah. Okay. So if that manga specifically gained sentience, I'd say that would be an interesting one. Would I be the main character or somewhere in between?
You just want to be the savior.
I don't know, because he goes through a lot in that. He has to bear the responsibility of making decisions, etc.
Yeah.
I would probably be just one of the students in the class. Just be like, why is this kid doing random shit? Like,
yeah.
Like when you read like manga or anime and it's set in a high school. I don't know about you. I like to look at the reactions of the side characters as they're looking at the main characters talking in the classroom, because it's just really funny to see that, oh, the plot is happening in front of them, and then main characters doing whatever and doing deep thoughts and maybe talking with the other main character. But then sometimes the author likes to make random jokes, like the side character will come in, will say a joke, and then we'll just exit, right? And we just forget that person's existence. I'm just like, no, what happened to that guy? I want to hear what that guy's doing.
Right.
I would be that guy. I would just be like, come in for the joke and then just exit left.
Bounce. All right, guys, good luck.
That's the kind of spirit I am. I'll only last 10 seconds. Right. On to this, back to our mad lad Belle Princess, Suzuhiko Hime. How would you rate her? This is definitely unconventional compared to every other yokai. What do you think?
Because I feel like our other yokai, we've been kind of like rating them on like how much they fuck shit up, like sort of thing. Well, not really, because the Shirime, he like doesn't really hurt people, but it's just the wow factor
psychologically.
Yeah. But this one is like a pleasant, like chill, like yokai, kind of just like nice. I don't know, maybe like a C or a B, just like little pleasant, calm, like encounter. It's not gonna like fuck you up for a while. You're just kind of like, oh, okay, it's nice.
Yeah.
Nice little bell.
Yeah. I would put her at C. I wouldn't put her at B, because I'm thinking, like, if we're gonna make the scare factor, pain, or wow factor consistent, I think B would have some damage. Like if you're considering like think about it, right? S is just Shirime is just, oh my god, right? Like you're gonna die, whether it's psychologically or whatever. A, you're probably gonna be near death or something bad happens. B, maybe an arm gets lopped off. I don't know, right? There's some damage. Like,
well, what's like did we ever decide, is it like A through what? Because even then, like C, you would probably expect like a little bit of something.
Right.
So are we like, what's our we like going F to like F tier, like this sort of thing?
Like F for friendly, or like
I mean, we could do friendly or just like fail as a yokai. Maybe it could be like a double thing. Or I don't know, maybe F could be just like absolutely like what the fuck is this?
But this isn't
'Cause
that
you-
bad, right?
No,
Like,
I was just gonna say
Yeah.
she's like at least a pleasant sort of experience.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you would
exactly.
see that and you'd at least maybe be like, oh yeah, this is nice. Versus like, okay, fuck you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay. If you're putting it that way, then even a yokai at C, at least I think, would
Mhm.
be at the very least a minor inconvenience.
Yeah.
Like if there's, I don't know if we're ever gonna reach this. If there's a yokai that like just like slaps your ankles every time he passes by you,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah, then probably a C.
that's a C. Like so,
Yeah.
maybe this would be like even E or F at this point.
Yeah. We'll say maybe E because at least you could maybe take like some pleasantry from it. I feel like F would be like you're absolutely not phased. Like you genuinely just like don't care.
Ah, okay. All right. Okay. I think I'm good with E, actually. I'm good with E.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Our Mad Lad Belle Princess Suzuki Hime is an E tier. Fantastic. So like we're looking at E being at friendly territory, which is good, you know. E for excellent.
Yes.
Awesome. The first of many tool spirits. So I will keep that in mind. Let me just
Make a
bring
note.
this link over here. Yeah. I'm gonna keep track of this growing tier list. It's gonna be crazy. And of course, link in the show notes below for if you want to make your own tier list, and by looking at the description of our princess for this episode, because you never know, maybe you might agree or disagree, or maybe you might have some complaints. If you do,
Right.
well, you can just email us, I guess, or tweet at us or comment below, and we will obviously gonna disagree with you because we've already put it.
Rip us a new one, but we've decided.
Hashtag Shirame is the one true God. All right. Okay. Now, on to food. I don't know how to transition into this unless I start off with something more. A question from a memory perspective. We can go from like any food that's, you know, Japanese in nature, and we're like, oh, what can we talk about from here? But I would rather look at it from our own personal perspectives. So I think one question to start off with is, do you have a really powerful memory related to ramen?
Yeah. Okay, so do you remember? I don't remember the name of the shop, but when a bunch of us went to that, oh, I have two memories. You're actually in both of them. So there's two. The one that always pops into my head first though when I think about ramen is when I can't remember, I know for certain it was you, me, Max, and Sid. And I feel like there was one or two other people with us. But we went to that shop in Ikebukuro where it has like the spice levels. And I can't remember if you
I know this one.
Yeah. I can't remember if you and Sid both did like 10. I can't remember if you like went balls to the wall and did 10.
I did level 9. I did
9,
level 9.
okay.
I remember this. I
And
remember the pain
yeah.
very well.
And I remember like going in and you guys were like specifically like ready for the fucking spice. And so if you haven't like been to Japan, I think people in one of my live streams, I think I was explaining this to them because they were asking questions. A lot of shops are set up where it's like a bar. And so you like come in and you like wait, people just kind of like eat and go. If you come in with a group, it's kind of like Mendokusai, kind of like a pain in the ass, but like you just wait until there's like enough like seats and you all sit down. So I remember like being in line and like gradually going up, and you just see like the businessmen like eating and like fucking sweating as they're like eating their ramen. And I can't like handle spice. So I'm thinking this whole time, like, these people are fucking crazy. Because it's not that I don't like it, it's just I can't handle it. So I go in and people are like, what spice are you gonna do? I'm like, fucking zero, like nothing. And I think I remember Max was sitting next to me. I think he did like a 3 or a 4. Like he stayed on like the lower end. And then you and Sid were like, fucking go for it. You guys were like having some like competition or whatever. And I remember even sitting next to like Max, and he was like sweating. And I'm like eating my like level 0 spice, just like enjoying having a good time watching as you and like Sid are like starting to just like turn fucking red and suffer. and and then I remember by the end of that, Sid was like pretty fine, but you you were like fucking dying. And I remember you were like, I need like something. So we went to like McDonald's, and you were gonna get like a flurry. Yeah. And the fucking ice cream machine was down. And I thought that was fucking hilarious, because in like the States, we always have a joke that like the flurry machines are always down, like no matter what McDonald's you go to. And so I thought that was just like ironic. And plus, like watching you suffer was funny. And then like, like going to a konbini and you just like chugging down like ice cream shit. That was fun. But then like a more like neutral like experience was when we went to the one ramen place. I think this was also in Ikebukuro. I think it was on like the opposite end. Where it was kind of like individualized, where it's like I don't know what words I want to use, but it's like you sit down and you have like your own kind of like cubicle almost.
Yeah.
And then there's like a like wall and screen between like you and the servers, and you just like fill out a sheet and like slip it under the curtain, and then they like bring you like your food. I thought that was really interesting, because like especially like me being like so like introverted, sometimes you don't want to like interact really like with people. And so that was, and it feels kind of sexy too. You're just like you're like mysteriously being like given stuff like through this little curtain. Like you don't have to talk to anyone or anything. Like it's just a nice, I don't know, a nice simple like interaction, which I thought was was nice to have the option for. So with the ramen, I think those are my two that like come into mind.
So yeah, for the second place, it's called Ichiran Ramen for anyone interested. Ichiran Ramen is a very, shall we say, it's not meant to be, you're not meant to go there with a group. You can. It's just that they've set up these booths so that you prioritize the privacy and make sure that you try to not distract yourself with the people around you. You go and you eat, you just face a wall with a little slit in the end. In front of you, you give them a piece of paper that says what kind of ramen did you want, what toppings, etc., etc., and then you get this like customized form of a bowl of ramen just for your pleasure. And you go and you go out. Definitely a good place to go to after you're like clubbing or whatever, or after a late night out. And I have a story related to that, but I was just while you were sharing the first memory, I was trying to find the name of the place, because I remember like it's like Yamamoto or like Kumamoto or something in Moto ramen, and it's actually close to uni. It wasn't really that far.
Yeah.
It was like 7 minutes walk from Rikyo.
Yeah, it was like nicely in between like the station and school.
Yeah. And I think Sid might have to like come on the show to like confirm this, because my memory of that time was that I think it was Sid that recommended the place, and we're like, yeah, let's go eat there. and then there were 10 levels of spiciness,
Mhm.
and then I decided to do level 9, and I'm pretty sure Sid also did a really high level, maybe like 8 or 9 as well, and then you guys left earlier. Like, you guys finished and then you guys left and then you waited for me, and then I was like,
Mhm.
I was suffering so hard, but then
So bad.
I was like, I really want to finish this ramen because I wanted to, like, I don't know, I didn't want to lose against the food, right? So it's just like, this is a battle. I wanted to eat this.
Right.
So here's what happened. I remember this very, very clearly, and I'm not lying when I say this. I was still finishing that level 9 ramen, so you guys already left. There was a guy that came in, a salaryman, and he looks like he just finished work, and he had his coat in his hand, and he's wearing his work company suit, whatever. So he's wearing like a dress shirt, like the white work dress shirt or an Oxford shirt or whatever. And he ordered the level 10 next to me. This guy ordered the level 10 and he ate it, and his face was so red, like holy shit, like insanely red. And he sweated all across his body. His shirt was see-through, but he finished his bowl faster than me. And I wasn't like, the guy was enjoying it so much that he was just like so quick, and then he was just done, and he finished before I did. And then by the time you guys saw me, like, come out of the place, no, of course I was suffering and everything, the guy already left. I don't think you guys even saw him. So I was a bit annoyed by that, like that
Triggered.
yeah, I was a bit triggered. Yeah, I was like, I think like I finished the rest of my bowl out of spite just because I saw that guy. I was just like, I can do that. And I tried to finish. And then I suffered for the rest of the night because, yeah, like you said, we tried to get a flurry. I needed like some kind of ice thing. There was just this growing fire in my body, and to be honest, I don't remember the rest of the night because I'm pretty sure I spent it on the toilet. It's just that bad.
Yeah, I don't know what. I think we just like all went back to the dorm after that. But yeah, like how you brought up, like, first off, fucking impressive in general for like it just being like a spicy ass bowl he's just going to town on. But I always thought that was interesting with especially the restaurants that are set up in that kind of like bar style. Like you just chow down and go. Because typically, like, at least in the States, when you go somewhere, it's like you whether you're with friends or by yourself, it's like you'll typically maybe like stay for a while. But even like, we had that ramen spot like next to the dorm, and I would go there. That was like my depression place when I'm like sad and I just want to have like a nice hot bowl of ramen to like cheer myself up. Like I would go there, and because they had the like wall of like manga and stuff too, and like businessmen would like come in and actually like chill and like have like a beer and like read some manga and stuff like that. You could just like sit there and like people watch. But even then you'll have people that come in and they're just like literally like slurp 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 and then like gone like in like 2 fucking minutes.
Yeah, that spot next to the dorm was so nice, so nice. And then the obasan that owned that place was just so used to us going there all the time, and I guess it was a bit jarring because this is a place in Asakadai in Saitama Prefecture, so that's like what 15 minutes train ride away from Tokyo, and then all of a sudden this one ramen place is just filled with like exchange students just coming in, just be like, hey, yeah, can I get a ramen? Yeah, can I get like garlic fried rice with that? Yeah, can I get gyoza? Hey, can I? It's just like ordering full on English, whatever. And they're just so used to it that they have like I think they have like a separate menu for like sets and stuff just to make it easy for people to order.
Yeah, I think they had an English menu.
Yeah,
if I'm remembering right.
Yeah, and
because I feel like I always like wanted to be cool and be like, Nihongo daijoubu. Yeah, Sakurai is like, so it would be fun to go and like talk to just like the actual like local people that live there. I saw this tweet a while ago and that was something like, nobody has like seen you at your worst more than like the local konbini. And I was like, oh, fuck, Like the people at Asakadai probably like think half of us are just like off dead somewhere, just from like coming home from like out clubbing or whatever, and you just need like a snack. I remember going to the konbini one time after like a night out, like I just came home kind of sad. And like I went to the konbini and they had like little set of like takoyaki. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's what I want. But then it's like takoyaki is something that you want to buy fresh. And this was my lesson. And so I went over and over by like the river, there's like random like steps and stuff. I went and found one that was close to like the tracks, and I was just like watching the trains go by in the morning, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna eat this like takoyaki. Then I was like went to like eat it, and when it's not fresh, and I'm sorry, this is the only way I know how to describe my feeling, is it's like a soggy ball sack. And I remember just sitting there and like I started crying. I just started crying because I was like, it's terrible.
Yeah, I was gonna describe
Yeah.
it as like baby food, but you've described it a lot better than I have,
Yeah.
and now I'm not gonna unsee it. Wow. By the way, I found the name. I found the name of the spicy ramen place. It's called Moko Tanmen Nakamoto. So yes, it's Nakamoto ramen basically, and I'll just for your sake, I'll put the I'll put the the place in the chat. But like as you can tell from the restaurant, it's like red in color. So that should be a really good indicator that that's how spicy it is. Like if it's that red in color, just be careful. And I think like just from seeing all the other names, they're just like they called a level 10 ramen full spice. Like
oh yeah, I think I remember.
Yeah. So, for any daredevil out there who has a great tolerance to spiciness, do check it out. I'll put the link to the restaurant, the exact restaurant we went to, in the show notes. So if you're gonna ever take a trip to Ikebukuro, you can try and challenge level 10. I've done level 9 and I died and have risen again. That's how epic it was. So yeah. That being said, yeah, those moments where you just want to do like a takeaway. I've done takeaway takoyaki before. I wouldn't really describe it as a ball sack, but I called it like baby food for myself. Like would be a more apt description for me. It's like when you bite it, it's like mushy, and
it's disgusting.
And the taste just refuses to cooperate. I don't know how to describe
it. Typically, if you get like takoyaki, they have like stalls and stuff, and they cook it fresh, just like right there, and it's got this kind of like crisp, nice thing. But then when you just like get it from like a store or something, it gets like soggy and almost like rubbery kind of when you're like
rubbery.
Yeah. Not a 10 out of 10.
Yes, no. there are conditions where Japanese food just does not taste great. That is definitely one of them. Like I do have like when I consider specific things that I want to get, like some I prefer like fresh, and I definitely would not want to buy like a takeaway version of that. Takoyaki being one of them. And I can't think of another one at the moment. I'll think about it later on. Although sometimes is it katsando, like the chicken katsu sandwich. So it's a 50-50 for me. Sometimes I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. And I think it's like related to this. It's like they fridge it so well that it tastes a bit artificial. Maybe I'm just so used to it being fresh that when you just take it from a konbini, it just tastes like food. It doesn't taste like the sandwich you like to eat it, right? It's just nourishment, and nourishment doesn't really have a flavor.
I think mine for that like 50-50 is like katsudon.
Okay.
Because sometimes from the market that was like right around the corner, I would just get like a katsudon, And like when you get it fresh, it's like crispy and nice. And then I don't know, when you buy it, because obviously it's like hot when they're like packaging it, so it's like when you close it up, all the like moisture and stuff stays in. um Sometimes that's okay, but then sometimes it's not. You know.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's just not. And normally this is a pretty good universal rule. Like, okay, normally fresh versions of the foods you get are just way, way better.
Mm.
But still, generally, even takeaway in Japan is reasonable. Like
Did you
most of it.
have
Yeah.
any like takeaway that you preferred, like to the fresh?
Oh, spaghetti. Like I
Oh yeah,
love,
actually the
yeah,
spaghetti was pretty good.
the convenience store spaghetti was,
Mm.
what the hell did I put in there? I don't know. So like I've had those, I don't know what you call them, like Japanized Italian restaurants, right? It's just
Yeah,
like
like
it's not a
fucking size
proper,
area.
yeah, it's like size area, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe just more emphasis on Italian dishes, but like it's
Mm.
an Italian restaurant. Oh, sorry, it's a Japanese restaurant that is Italian themed or with Italian cuisine. So maybe the spices are different, etc. So the way that they would do that, the pasta dishes in general, it's a lot lighter in nature. So when you eat it, it's okay. It tastes
Mhm.
fine. The thing is, the combination of smaller portions, because it's smaller portions in general everywhere, and that amount of spice leads to sometimes an unfulfilling meal, which is
Mhm.
just, this is just on me. I guess it's just my own
Yeah.
preference when eating pasta. I just want to fucking fill my mouth with spaghetti and linguine or whatever, right? So I'm not really looking to check my physical health and condition or check my body weight, etc. when I'm eating pasta. When I want to eat pasta, I'm just going full on. The only time when I can feel that or have that feeling of satisfaction is when I take the get takeaway spaghetti or Neapolitan, I think that's the name, from a 7-Eleven or a Family Mart, and they heat it
Mm.
up for you and in the microwave. And then sometimes I just eat it immediately coming out of the convenience store. So you just see this foreigner just eating spaghetti immediately out of the convenience store. And that's just me. I just love it so much. I don't know what they put in there. It's insane.
Yeah, I think mine was, and I don't know why this is, but the taco rice that like the Rikio cooks would make,
Ah,
that was like they fucking sprinkled crack or something in it. Like anytime I've tried to make like taco rice by myself, or anytime I went and had it like at a restaurant or something, it just was never as good as the taco rice from the school in its nice little takeaway thing. Like I would like bust my ass sometimes because the taco rice would go so fast. So like sometimes I would go and they wouldn't have it anymore. And I would be like, no, like I gotta get that shit. And I think about it all the time because I like try to make taco rice like here in the States from time to time. And I've tried all different kinds of things. And like everything is just shit in comparison. Like it fucking breaks my heart. Like I'll just like lay in bed sometimes and think about like Rikio's taco rice.
damn. That's that much of an impact. Holy shit.
Yeah, love it so much.
I remember it
I
was good.
could talk about it for a while.
I don't remember it making that much of an impact, but then again, I didn't really go eat at this is at like the eating halls, right? Like the dining halls on campus, or is
It,
it at the
it was like, across from McKim. I can't remember the name of the building, but like across from McKim, they
yeah,
had the like cafeteria,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then there was like a little store in there. You can buy like breads or the like pre-cooked meals.
yeah.
Um, did they might have had like cafeteria style their stuff too, but I never
It
tried too much from like the actual cafeteria. but I would often get stuff from the little shop in there.
Yeah, so that's dining hall 2. So that
Mm,
has its own cafeteria stuff. And then
mm,
they have that little tuck shop where you can buy like
yeah.
the extra bits and pieces. And if I remember correctly, hopefully the map in my head still is functioning. From the entrance of Ikebukuro campus of Rikyo, you will see the giant dining hall on the left, in front of all the gardens and everything. That's dining hall 1. That's where all the majority of people will be eating. And then
Mhm.
Makim is like around the corner, and then opposite is hall 2, which is, I guess, where the taco rice is. And yeah, it's like limited. So
Mhm.
like I think I've only tried the taco rice like maybe like once or something. So yeah, it's pretty lucky there.
Fucking missing out.
Here's another dish that I miss. It's, like I have an equivalent dish, and I don't know if you'll feel this way, but every time, if Max is listening to this episode, he would agree with me, because every time I bring this up, he would be like, "Let's fucking go."
Are you
Um,
gonna say gyudon?
no.
Okay.
Our dorm's curry rice was so good
Ooh.
that that me and Max would eat like 3 or 4 plates. And Max is a tall guy. I think
Right.
he eats normally, like normal amounts.
Mhm.
But I think I remember like, and I mean Max can totally, if you can listen to it, you can probably confirm with me on this. I think it was like before the semester started or something. We were just like talking about like, oh, what to expect and blah 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 blah. And I was telling him like, the food here is good. Like and the dorm ladies are really good at cooking, general stuff. The one thing
Mhm.
that you watch out for is curry rice, because the curry rice is just so fantastic. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. And then curry rice day came in, and he was like, oh yeah, I heard it's good. And he tried it, and all of a sudden he's like, Norman, we need to get another plate. And he he brought me with him to get another plate. And I guess, I'm not sure if it's embarrassment or whatever, but it ended up becoming a tradition that
Mhm.
anybody who sees the schedule for food, as soon as they see curry rice, they would message the group saying curry rice, and then we'd like
Yeah.
hurry the fuck
Everybody.
back.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I missed that so much.
I didn't have like a food thing through the dorm. So I don't know if I ever ate anything from there that
Ah,
I can remember. I do remember going to like Coco's Curry
ah,
with some people and trying like they had like a sweet curry, and I thought that was fucking delicious. Or there was a place, and I can't remember who took me. I went with 2 people. But there was another curry place where it was one of those like types of situations where you walk in and they have like the machine, or you kind of like order a ticket. Um and I wish I could remember. That place was in Ikebukuro too, but that was fucking good. That was probably like the best curry that I've had, and you could get like sides and stuff with it, like just depending on like the meal set that you like chose.
is it the gorilla one?
Maybe, I don't know. I would have to like look it up and like see like a picture or something of it. That was like my like I like hardly ever paid attention to like the names of places. People would just be like, "Oh, do you want to go get da da da?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, sure." And just come along for the ride.
Maybe if you trace your steps back, I'm sure you can like find a place. If
Mm.
you're thinking about curry places near Rikyo, uh, there is a Coco, and then there is what's the name of the gorilla one? Is it Gogo? No, Kokoichi? No, I forgot. I forgot. It's been a while. Yeah, I don't really go out to eat curry that much. Normally, it's
Mm.
just a dorm one, so I can't really complain. Because that's because in the previous trip to Japan, so before the exchange thing started, I ate curry out, and then I ate too much of it, so I was like, I'm not feeling it so much. So I had to be careful, because I think I was trying to challenge myself, because there was like a sign, like a poster for like, oh, this is the amount of curry a sumo wrestler eats, and it's like 2.5 kilos.
Oh my god.
Or something. No, I didn't. That doesn't mean that I was gonna eat 2.5 kilos. Obviously, I'm not an idiot, right? Like I eat a lot, but I'm not an idiot, right? So I ordered like, was it like 800 grams? I think. So I had to convert it, right? So that's like 2 steaks worth in weight, I guess 2 to 3 steaks. It's like that. Yeah, it's a lot. So I blew up from then. So yeah, you gotta be you gotta watch out when it comes to curry. I feel like I've just so far this episode it's just been anything to do with food, and I just fuck up in some way, and everybody remembers that.
Like no self-control. I don't think. No, not food. In Japan, my problem was like vodka Red Bulls, but food wasn't too bad, especially coming from like America. I feel like Japan had like actual like healthy proportions and like healthier food like in general.
And you pair that with like green tea everywhere, right?
Oh,
like,
free green tea.
Yeah, free green tea. Yeah.
And you're like walking everywhere too. So probably like Japan, I was probably like fucking, aside from like the drinking, like best shape ever.
Yeah, exactly. So just feels so good.
Mm-hmm.
I ate so much and I lost weight. So like that was like a great indicator. I was like the healthiest I've ever been while I was there. So
and I feel like we've talked about this before, but at least like for the States, our food is like processed so much. And so I remember like here, ever since I was little, I've always had like lots of like stomach like problems, like pains and issues and things. But the year that I was in Japan, like after a couple months, it was like nothing. I was like living my best fucking life. And I was like, oh, so it must be a food thing. Cause like after I came back here and readjusted to like food and stuff here, it all went downhill again. So yeah, that sucks. But
it was similar for myself. To be fair, when I finished my exchange from Tokyo, I didn't go back to Malaysia. I went back to Australia first to finish up. And in Sydney, I actually took care of my body pretty well. Like that was when I was like working out a lot and I was being very conscious about what I eat. So when I came back, I didn't have any problems. The only thing maybe is that I felt maybe a little sluggish, but that was because there's that vast difference of just not drinking green tea at all compared to the amount that I was drinking in Tokyo. What happened was that when I came back to Malaysia from, a life in Australia and a life in Japan, that everything turned to shit. Like everything had some kind of oil or fat in it.
Right.
Even the water had oil for some reason. I'm saying a figure of speech, but that's how bad it felt. Right. And being lethargic ended up becoming a very normalized thing for me. I didn't realize that like when I was overseas, like when I moved to Australia the first time, I was like, wow, I feel a lot lighter. And like I actually want to jog or I want to work out.
Yeah.
I wonder why. And I forget that we are what we eat, or we like whenever we try to spend energy, we're moving the accumulation or the resultant of whatever we put into our bodies, right? So if we ate shit and we're trying to like exercise, we're trying to exercise a pile of shit, like
literally,
right? Yeah, exactly, right. So and in Tokyo, everything was just high quality, and you're just detoxifying all the time, 24/7. And then I come back here, and I'm like, what is life? So the difference there is astounding. Of course, not perfect, but that's okay. That's just to personal preference.
Yeah.
I had a point on that, right? Still, even in Japan, as you may have heard from all of my dumb food escapades. And overabundance will always result in negativity. And with that being said, I do
Yeah,
have
of
a funny
course.
story about this. So
Mm.
you were definitely there. We went for, I might have actually mentioned this in the previous episode. We went for that, was it 90 minutes of Japanese barbecue buffet? And
Oh yeah.
we just ate unlimited meat.
Yeah.
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 So it was you, me, Eric, Jesper, Sid. I think that's it.
Max might have been there.
Max as well? Yeah. Okay. That sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds like a it's like a
Yeah.
core group of
Yeah,
meat
there's
eaters.
typically
Yeah.
like us, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that sounds pretty good. Yeah. And we got a table and then we just ate endlessly and whatever. Do you remember what happened just when we reached Asakadai station?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna get so blasted by people when I share this. So
Oh.
so I ate a lot. And my metabolism is pretty fast. So I processed a lot of the meat pretty quickly and I had to go to the bathroom immediately. So I don't know about you guys, but I had to go like shit really bad immediately. Like after, and then like we had to go back, right? So in the train, and I remember this very well. Everybody was like joking, having fun, with laughter. I was quiet because I was trying to hold it in. So what happened was that we reached Asakane station. Why am I sharing this? We reached Asakane station and then was it, I think it was Eric. Yeah, so I was the last to leave the ticket gate and then Eric was in front of me. And then I guess Eric was waiting for me or something. Like he was just like, oh, still talking, whatever. And then I'm like, Eric, I need to go to the toilet. You can just go ahead. I'll see you at the dorm. And he's like, oh okay. So you guys left, and I ran to the Asakare station toilet. Should I be sharing this as a host? Yeah. So I blocked the toilet, and
No.
I blocked it, and I felt so bad for the next person who had to go.
You couldn't even just like get the like short walk to the dorm.
Oh,
You
I
just
couldn't.
had
Like each step had an effect on the bowels. Like that was how bad it was so bad. It was just like literally like outside the ticket gate. I was just like one step. I'm like, oh shit. Like literally like emergency. Like I was telling Eric to like I was shooing him away because
you're like,
I mean I
"Please
love the guy, but I'm like Eric, fuck off. I need to go to the toilet now. And I was trying my best to be very polite about it, and I had to run. I just had to find one, and I just had to drop trowel and let it loose. So it was just really, really bad. Probably top 5 worst of my life. Like that was
Oh my
that was
God.
absolutely atrocious. I'll leave the description at that. But let's just say, let the lesson be learned. If you're gonna eat barbecue, just be prepared. Like maybe plan, like know where all the toilets are on the way back home, so that if you need to process it, that you'll know where to go. You know your escape
Oh my
plans.
gosh.
It was bad. It was really, really bad. And I don't know.
I don't think I've ever had a emergency like that in Japan.
Yeah, okay.
Oh no, wait. Maybe I got like I guess it was never like so bad that I had to like sprint to the nearest bathroom. But after I had gotten like an intestinal infection at some point, like while I was there, which is like why I had to go to the hospital and stuff. And then after that, it was like I couldn't eat like super oily food. So after that, like if I had like ramen or if we went to get like Aburasoba or something, like I would just be miserable like an hour later. But I don't think I ever had like a get the fuck away from me, like I'm gonna explode like emergency. Oh, that'd be awful. I like and it like anywhere, but like in Japan of all places, like to back up a toilet, like fucking rude.
in public. It was public toilet as well. Like I don't like public toilets that much. Like I can use them. That's okay. But I'm not gonna be the ones that's just like, oh, I will not do anything ever public toilet. Like if there's a toilet, I will use it. It's just that it was that intense. Like I just had to, and I couldn't help it. Yeah, horrible. So let's see when this episode comes out. The 105 is just gonna blast me online. That's what fucking happened to you. What the fuck? What did you tell us? And they're gonna laugh at me, especially Sid. Fucking ass. You have brought up something that I do want to bring that I've always wanted to bring up in an episode. And that is Aburasoba. So Aburasoba, I feel like almost like it deserves its own episode, but of course we're gonna have it here. Is my favorite Japanese dish of all time. It's probably so good that I have no words for it, and it is also reflected in the body language of everybody else who eats it, because every time I see this happen, and it happens very consistently, as soon as everybody gets their bowl, everybody shuts up because we're too busy eating. And we have picture proof that we've been there, because
I know
the restaurant that we always frequent for this exact dish took a picture of us and used that as promotion. So, our backs turned, it's just a bunch of gaijins eating the food, and they're like, "Yeah, please come visit our restaurant." So, I think I still have the picture somewhere, so that's always pretty nice. Yeah. Let's try to explain what this is. So the Aburasoba, it consists of two words, abura and soba, and that stands for oil and soba. So soba noodles. The proper name is hot oil soba. So this is a dry ramen dish with, I think with like pork oil based, and tons of barbecue meat, like barbecue pork, and a lot of chives, onions, garnish, etc. And you can fill it to the brim with like your own spice and chili flakes, etc. And it's a big bowl. You can order in 3 sizes: small, medium, large, or special. And I always order the special. And it's from a place called Basso Drillman, or Basso Drillman. And for this episode, because I knew that we're going to talk about this, I brought my Basso Drillman merchandise.
Oh my god!
Which is the shirt that I wore for this.
You've been waiting the whole time to do this.
Yes, I have. Yes. So feast your eyes on the best restaurant in the world. So for our audio listeners, I'm showing the shirt that I'm wearing to the camera, so you can see that in the video version. This is the Basso Drillman merchandise shirt that I got from the owner, who's seen my face for so long that he's like, "Oh, it's you again," because I've always played the role of translator for everybody else, because I love the place so much. So, yeah, the hot oil soba. Do you know? What do you feel, or what do you think about the dish? Actually, maybe from the first time you tried it.
Oh, it was fucking good. Like I remember the first time, like you took a bunch of us there, and I always get nervous like trying new things. I'm like a very like picky eater, especially when it comes to like textures and things like that.
Yeah.
And so I remember kind of like looking at the menu and being like, "Oh, it's just like a ramen place or whatever." But then you were like, "No, everybody's got to like ordered this like specific dish." And so I remember being like nervous because I'm like, "Oh, fuck, what if I like don't like it?" And especially in Japan, I luckily like pretty much anything that I ate in Japan was fucking good. Like even if I had had it in America and hated it, when I had it in Japan, it was fucking spot on. So I remember like it was fucking great. And something that I really like about like Japanese like culture in general is that everything is like artistic in a way. So with a lot of these restaurants, you actually get to see them like preparing the food in front of you, and they prepare each thing like to order. So for me, it's kind of like when you get stuff in the States, it's like, it's been like sitting there. They have like pre-ready, like kind of like stuff, and you can really like taste like that difference. Versus like when you go to this place, it's like they cook up the noodles right in front of you fresh, and they have like a little like it's not even like a big open grill. They have like this little like flame, and you just watch them like char like the pork and stuff in front of you, and you're just like watching. And I feel like that's part of it, is like you're watching them cook and you're just like anticipating like, oh, this, like, like you're like, this is gonna be fucking good. And so I feel like that anticipation like adds to like how good it is. And so it's like you finally get it, and then like you like you've just been waiting like this time, because again, because they're cooking everything fresh, it takes a little bit of time to get to you. It's not just like, okay, here you go, here's your bowl. So you get it and you're ready, and then like you said, like you just start eating, and then it's just like warm and it's like good. The meat like literally like melts in your mouth, like sort of meat. And yeah, you're just like, nobody bother me. Like I'm just eating my noodles and my meat. It's so good.
Yeah. It was so fun watching everyone's reactions because I felt like that was one thing I was worried about. I guess not only for yourself, but maybe for everybody else. I'm like pushing for this one dish. Like, what if there are people who won't like it, right? And maybe I'm just too biased. I'm like, oh, what if it's too oily, or what if it's too fatty, or what if it's too much for one bowl, or what if it's like, oh, the noodles aren't my favorite, or whatever. I mean, that could be a possibility. And I brought everyone there, and everyone's still chatting and chilling, and like our group is relatively loud, so like we're quite rowdy. And it's just kind of strange because this is so for context, this restaurant, while I was still there, it's like 5 minutes walk from Rikyo. Unfortunately, that branch closed down, so it moved to a different place. But back then, it is a random restaurant in the middle of a neighborhood. So it's like a residential area, and then randomly there's a restaurant with like this amazing food. So we're walking past by people's houses, and then you just turn around the corner from a 7-Eleven, and all of a sudden there's this long line because people are trying to eat there. So, there's like other Japanese people there, of course. And we're chatting. We're like, yeah, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be talking whatever. And then we go in, and then it turns out they're playing like Linkin Park or something. Over the
or like
radio.
Or even some like raunchy American songs sometimes.
Yeah. Like, I think like, what was it like? There's like the second or third time we went there, they played Genuine, like they played Pony. I was like, or something like that. I remember Jesper reacting like, why the fuck are they playing Pony? Anyway, definitely not Japanese songs. So we go in there, and everyone's, maybe they're smelling the food. They're like, oh, this smells really good. But then as soon as you take the first bite, I swear, I think I was trying to talk to Jesper, and he actually ignored me. I think it was like that, because I remember like trying to see like, asking like, oh, how is it, whatever. But then everybody was looking down. Everybody was like, and it was fantastic. I loved it. I don't know. Yeah, Jesper, you can tell me, if you're listening to this, you can tell me what was your first reaction when it happened. Because that was my reaction when I tried it the first time.
How did you come about it? Did someone take you there, or did you just like stumble?
I think it is a mutual friend of ours named Hikari, if you remember her.
Oh yeah,
Hikari, yeah. Shout outs to you, Hikari. It's been a long time, Sashibari. Hikari is an amazing friend, totally funny,
as they all are,
and also really fun to club with, because for some reason funny stuff always happens with her. Yeah, so Hikari is great, speaks perfect English, and she's stayed in Japan for so long, from China, and she's just really chill with us. So when we met her for the first time, we're like, oh, this is pretty cool. And one time she brought a group of us. She brought her friends and she brought a group of us, including me and Jason, to Basso, to this restaurant. And she's like, yeah, you should try this dish. It's called Aburasoba. I'm like, oh, oil soba? Because I was expecting a ramen. So I was like, oh,
Right.
okay, sure. And Jason's just like, yeah, let's go, whatever. Because, Jason. So she brought us there and we went through left and right into a neighborhood, and we arrived at this place. We're like, oh, okay, cool. And then we sat down and they're playing English language songs as well. Because I remember us making a comment about why are they playing this song, whatever it is. I think it's like Foo Fighters. I forgot what it was. Because I remember Foo Fighters Everlong playing in that restaurant one time. So distinct memory there. And we ate it. We ate, and me and Jason didn't say a single thing. we didn't even tell each other that it was delicious. We were just like, and Jason has the best. I'm sorry for calling you out, Jason. Jason has the best table manners because he doesn't care, right? So he's like, with food in his mouth, and he's like, "This is fucking good. Holy fuck!" But he's trying to talk to me, but he's not looking at me. So he's just like, he's talking to himself, saying like, "This is so fucking good. Oh my fucking god, so good." And ever since then, it's always going to be either me or Jason bringing up, okay, let's go Basso, because we want to eat Aburasoba. And Jason, bless that guy, he's fucking amazing. I guess learning Japanese is not really on his list of priorities, but he learned the shit out of the word Aburasoba. It was to the point where he would recognize like the kanji and the hiragana for Aburasoba. He'd be like, oh, is this like a basso? Is it like Aburasoba? Is it going to be the same good? And we tried different places just to compare. So there was this huge obsession. So as you can tell, I'm a big proponent of hot oil soup.
Was there anything that you tried in Japan that you like absolutely like hated, like you thought was disgusting?
Yeah, I was thinking about that before we started this episode. Like something I've had a very, very bad experience with. I can't think of any right now, but probably something to do with either natto or wasabi, because I really don't like them. Wasabi because I did that dumb thing when I was a child where, oh, let me just put a finger amount into my mouth and see what happens.
Ew.
And then that traumatized me.
I hate wasabi.
Natto is more of the texture. It's just, I'm just gonna take your words for it. It's just canned ballsack. It's just that. It's just mush, right? It's just fermented ballsack.
Yeah.
And I just hated it. But those are ingredients, right? They're just like, they're more like complementaries to a specific thing. So it's really easy to ignore that. But to be honest, I can't really give you a bad experience related to food at that moment. Maybe one where I ate it and then I vomited after, but maybe that's because I was sick or something. But that's like that normally comes up if I drank alcohol. So that doesn't really count. So yeah, I really don't have an answer for you. Did you have one?
I'm trying to think. There was stuff that was really... There was one time I went out to like Kaiten Sushi with Misa. And sometimes they would have like a special like random thing. And the time that we went, they had like chicken nugget sushi. And
what?
We were like, oh, that's weird. Like, let's try it. And they didn't just have it, like going around. You had to like order it. And can you hear the cat?
Yeah, I can.
I'm so sorry. The cat is screaming. He just does that. But so we were like, oh, like we were both like, okay, like let's try it. And Like at the worst, like it's just a chicken nugget like on rice. Like literally, like that's what it was. And so I don't like chicken and rice, that sounds fine. But it was like a soggy like chicken nugget. It was like a floppy, like, and it had like the it was breaded, but even that was like soggy. So I don't know. It was like they put like a frozen chicken nugget in the microwave and then put it on like some rice. That was gross. I can't remember what it was called, but in a lot of like if you get like a fish type bowl or sometimes like on sushi, is it urchin? Maybe. There's like that yellow like paste looking
Uni?
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, uni. That was fucking gross. I thought that was disgusting. And then I never ate this, but something that horrified me, and fucking Micah would get it every time we would go to this one like kaiten sushi place, is they had corn ice cream. It was corn flavored ice cream. And I'm not a corn person in general, but it was like kind of like an ice cream sandwich almost, where it was like this ice cream in like the middle, and then wrapped around it was like a corn on the cob. Like, I don't even know what it was made out of. And Micah would get it every time we went out. It smelled like butter. And I just thought like that was the most atrocious thing. Like, it's still when I think about it, I'm like disgusted. But I never tried it, so maybe it was good. But the smell of it alone, like, wasn't for me.
You don't really eat like even just like normal corn. You don't really take that in, right?
Yeah, I'm not like a fan. Like, there's a way that my grandma cooks it that I really enjoy. I'll tolerate like corn on the cob, but I'm not particularly like a corn person. In Japan, to like put corn on like fucking everything. There was like fucking sushis with like corn pieces sprinkled on it, fucking on pizza. There was like pizza. There was a corn mayonnaise pizza I remember seeing, and I was like, what?
Your chicken nugget sushi actually reminded me. I did have a bad experience with one dish in particular. You've just unlocked a memory that I completely forgot until now. So here's one. Like, this is definitely something like I would just never ever touch ever again. Like, I actually hated it. So at the time in Tokyo, I had a Japanese girlfriend, and we went on a date for Valentine's Day. And on Valentine's Day, you know, Japan likes to celebrate special days with like random shit.
Right.
KFC bucket for Christmas or some shit like that, right?
Right.
And some idiot had the great innovative idea of making, for Valentine's Day, chocolate ramen. So
I think I remember you talking about this.
Yeah. We went and tried it. Like, we had a great day, and then we're like, let's have chocolate ramen for lunch. And we soon both regretted it, and that completely ruined the rest of the day. So this was a restaurant. I don't remember the name of the restaurant now, but I think it's best I just not bring it up because I don't want to ruin the reputation.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
this restaurant had this for promotion, chocolate ramen.
Yeah.
And the both of us went there. You know, we had a lot of stuff like that already happened throughout the day, and then we went there for lunch, and we went there, and we sat down at this table for 4, and it was just us 2, and we are like, let's get chocolate ramen each. The restaurant was small, so we had to share that table, and in came 2 German girls, I think, or like, I'm pretty sure they were speaking German, so at least 2 German girls, I assume. 2 Caucasian girls rather, and they sat opposite us. So we're just like, oh, hi, and just, simple greetings, etc. And then they just kept to themselves, and they're speaking in German. But I like, some similarities with Dutch, so I can like understand a little bit. So I'm like, oh, okay, they're also here to try the chocolate ramen because they also were just like looking forward to it. And I don't know if they were like YouTubers or bloggers or whatever, because they're just like, oh, I'm excited to hear what, I'm reading a lot from other reviews or whatever. So all 4 of us tried chocolate ramen. and it's just a bowl of shit. The color is like, the color was like if I were to show you a picture, I'd have to censor it. Like that's how disgusting the picture, right? Like the color. So I was just like, okay, no.
I want to
hang
on. I'm gonna see if I can look it up.
You can try and find it.
Keep talking. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the noodle, and then a chocolate based soup, and then there's meat, and then there's vegetables, and then you can put garnish on it or whatever you want on top of it. Okay. Next thing is, the chocolate is not sweet, so it is like, it's less of like chocolate and more like cocoa, like dark chocolate, right? So
yeah,
imagine a dark chocolate ramen. Like you're eating noodles, and it's dark, like covered in dark chocolate, and the meat is also covered in dark chocolate. So the more that me and my girlfriend at the time, the more that me and her ate, the more that we looked at each other and we're like, I don't know if I can finish this. And she's like, also like visibly shaken, like she's like also like, I don't want it as well. But
yeah.
even more than our reactions was the two girls in front of us, because they were a lot louder about it. But obviously they're speaking in their language. They were just like, what the fuck is this shit? So here's the funny part. The funny part is all four of us did not finish our ramen. Like we all pushed our ramens to the center, and then we just gave that hidden nod, right? They're just like, I get it, right? It's just this nod this nod that we all agree, we're all thinking the same thing. Let's leave. So we ended up paying, and we went about our own ways. But I have to say, now that we're bringing this up, that was absolutely the worst Japanese dish I've ever had in my life. That was just disgusting. It's just bad.
I do know that like one of the things I really love about Japan, I probably said this in a different, probably when we were talking about the konbini and stuff, is that they do all those like promotional things. Like you can just get like excited for like every season. But some of the stuff that they come up with, like I just want to talk to like their marketing like strategy people and just kind of be like, okay, like I get it in theory, but what made you decide like this is the thing? And I feel like McDonald's always had like some really questionable like advertising and like their little things that they would bring up. The McDonald's in Japan, I remember they would do like a lot of like actually kind of like dessert type stuff to like their food. So I remember they had a thing, I think it was around Valentine's Day, where you could get like a chocolate packet and like put it on your fries. Or they would do like different like powders and stuff like that. Like I know in the spring they had like a sakura kind of like powder and things like that. And I remember, I think it was the year like after I had come back to like America, they were advertising like a pastry. And they decided to like name it the like otona cream pie. So like adult cream pie. That is what it was called. And I remember like sending this picture to like probably like everyone, like all of my friends, and I was like, oh my god. Like, and I think just because like stuff like, especially if it's funny, it just gets stuck in my head. Even now sometimes I think like, imagine like having that conversation with someone like, I really want to try the like adult cream pie, and I'm just being like, what? But I'll try to shift gears from that. Did you have any like seasonal like promotional stuff that like you really liked that you like?
You can't just transition from cream pie to seasonal. There's no way.
It was a seasonal thing, you know, like once a season. I think it was like a summer thing. The sweet summer adult cream pie.
Oh my fucking god. Yeah, that's what I get during summer. An adult cream pie.
Otono cream pie. I think about that
Oh my
often.
god. You're thinking about taco rice and cream pies. That's a very interesting combination of things to be thinking about. Oh my god. Oh, I'm tearing up. Oh, fuck me. Shit. Fucking adult cream pie. I swear they're doing this on purpose. It's like
They
I'm gonna
have
be.
to be.
It's not even funny anymore. It's like a conspiracy. I swear.
Yeah, there's no way. Like it's gotta, like it has to be. It's kind of like how like social media people or celebrities, at least in the States, like thrive off what's the word that I want? Not conspiracy, controversy.
Yeah.
I feel like that's gotta be like what Japan is doing, where it's like they're like, okay, we just gotta give this the most like fucking off-brand name that people are like, what the fuck is this? And then just for the laughs, people will come in and do it.
Come in. Anyway, it's but the thing is, right? The other reason is sometimes they just don't really understand the consequences of certain English words, because we see this a lot
Yeah.
in when we when you try to make something sound cool by adding in a different like foreign language. We do this a lot in English as well.
Right.
In Japan it's also the same. Like, for example, adding like I saw I think I was taking a walk through Shibuya, and then there was someone selling hats, and then the hat said Shimokita fucking city for no reason. It just said fucking city, and I don't know why it said fucking city. Like, I almost want to buy that just because of how absurd it was. First of all, Shimokita is a great place to be at. Second of all, the way that they show how like kakoi the place is, it's just it's not just a city, man. It's a fucking city. Like it's so funny.
I feel like we could do this might be like a more like editing visual kind of thing, because I feel like we could find so many like products with like English, or even like vice versa, if there's like stuff like in America or fucking Japan is fucking trending here, so people are trying to incorporate Japanese into like all of their products. Like, if you could find certain things, because I remember seeing that a lot, especially with clothes. And one thing I always think about is this like bomber jacket. It was like this pink, like nice thing. And I was like, oh, that's sexy. And so I like took it off the rack. But then on the back of it, it was like a car, like an old style like Beetle or something. And then it just said like spank me in like these big like letters. And I think I was with Charlotte at the time. We might have like vlogged it, but I think I have a picture of it too somewhere. And I was just like, okay.
I would wear that. That would be amazing.
If the car picture wasn't on it, like I probably honestly would have bought it. Just had this like nice sexy pink jacket that just like spank me across the back. That's very on brand for me.
Oh, it's hilarious. Oh my god. Just stick words in there and they're like, oh, that's pretty cool because it's not like hira or kata or kanji at all. It's like the equivalent. It's nearly the same as like someone tattooing something Japanese on their body and they're like, oh, this is pretty cool, right? It's like Rising Phoenix, and then it's like monkey butt or something when you translate
right.
Or
like,
they
just get like the kanji and it's like water. Like, okay.
Or kitchen or something like that.
And they're like, it means serenity. Okay. Did you just do a quick Google search for that, or yeah? You just get the like kanji for like sake. It means strength. Sure does.
I get strength from sake too. We could actually do a like dedicate an episode to that, like borrowed words as well, like just examples, but not only the examples, the rationale behind it, like why why do I want to wear a cap that says fucking city? Or isn't what's that brand? Is it Comme des Garçons? Isn't it a Japanese brand? I think
I
there
couldn't
is
tell you.
let me wait.
All
Let me
I
just.
know is there is a sticker company called B-Side Label that I really liked that would do
Yeah.
a lot of in Japanese and in English, some like funny word plays and things like that.
Okay, no, I may be wrong, but yeah, the B-side label is great. I have a lot of better stickers from here. I have one more unused one, so I might use that on my Mac. Yeah, like borrowed words. I guess it's out of respect, like not to dive into it too much, but like I guess it's out of respect and admiration that like, oh, something foreign, therefore something mystical or mysterious or interesting.
Yeah.
And so we just slap that on and think of it as pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But putting that aside from now, I think from an entire episode talking about food and whatever goes into my mouth and ejects out of it as well, it's been quite a roller coaster ride of talking about all forms of gastronomy in Japan.
Right.
Some good and some bad. I do have to say Japan's perspective on food has been 95% amazing, and 5% is like there's like a bunch of mad scientists experimenting with like ingredient A and ingredient Z, and they're like, hey, omoshiroi, and then they just publish or like make this new food that everybody's gonna try. And sometimes it's a hit or miss, right? Because sometimes it's like, oh, sakura flavored Kit Kat, which is okay,
Right.
and then on the other side you have chocolate ramen, which is basically they just put a bowl underneath a public toilet and then wait and then serve it, right? But all in all, I think anyone who is interested in being like a gourmand going around Japan, I think you'd be fine. Like I think you'd be really fine and you'd be safe for most of the things, except maybe blowfish, because I think there's like a percentage chance of death, but I don't know.
Yeah, you have to like find a really good chef for that if you're feeling daring.
I think you're daring enough if you want to try chocolate ramen. So, I mean, there's also that.
Like ready? I've had chocolate ramen, so I'm ready to gamble my life away. Or even like when you get like a fish dish, like you got to be careful not to eat like them little bones and stuff like that.
And also to make sure that the spiciness level isn't as high as you want it to be, because I feel like I've just spent this episode sharing my regrets. It's just like, oh, spicy ass food, chocolate ramen,
Norman's food fails,
blocking toilets, and I feel like I've not really served the point of the episode, which is just like to put it from a very respectable point of view. But it's okay. I think it's okay.
Yeah, there's so much you could like now, like of course now we're like getting to the end. I can think of like all kinds of things like prefectural foods and all that. Like you could go on and on about food in Japan.
Yeah, I was about to like part of the research for this. I was about to talk about like the different prefectural ramens. So like the Tokyo ramen, and then the Hakata, and then the
or
Sapporo
like the
ones.
fucking okonomiyaki.
Oh,
yeah.
That and the Hiroshima yaki as well. Oh,
yeah,
so good.
So fucking good.
So good. Maybe we can do a part 2 another time for food. Maybe like instead of we'll make this episode as our food experiences within Tokyo, and then another episode will be like, okay, all around Japan.
Branch out.
Yeah. We'll go interprefectural, if that's even a word, to other regions. But for now, is there anything else you want to, bring in? Otherwise, we are good. Okay. For now, we shall leave it as that. Thank you so much for listening in to this week's episode of Kanpai Chronicles with your host, Norman and
Holly.
And if you are interested in trying out any of these foods or restaurants, I'll do my best to put in all the links to the places in the show notes right below. Otherwise, if you're gonna try to search for chocolate ramen, you're on your own. Because that's a very difficult.
Just make it at home.
Just make it at home. Oh my god. But that being said, support us on your favorite podcast listening app and give us a review if you'd like. I'll put the link to review there, right below. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next episode. So bye.
Goodbye.